This is your latest news from the station on your side, Wavy News 10.
It is finally here, Decision 2016. The polls just opened here in Virginia, and we have team coverage this morning.
Our Lex Gray is live in Virginia Beach, and you can see the line still outside the polling site. And Rico Bush is in Newport News showing us what you will expect as you head out to vote there.
Plus 10 on your side has a crew in New York City right now.
Andy Fox is following both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's campaigns, and both are set to watch the results come down at the Big Apple tonight.
We're on your side with important voter information before you head out to the polls, including the hours and how to find your polling place.
Also today, what's on your ballot? We'll break it all down so you can get in and out efficiently.
10 on your side is your Decision 2016 destination this morning. Happy Election Day, everyone. The polls literally opened seconds ago. I'm Katie Collette.
And I'm Don Roberts. A lot of folks happy about that. Finally, the chance to cast their ballot. Now, we know it is a busy day for most of you, so we're going to have everything you need to know to head to the polls today. First, we start with a look at your chilly Election Day forecast. Jeremy, some folks waited in line for more than half an hour.
Yeah, already. And so the folks that are going to be waiting in lines this morning, just keep in mind it's going to be cold out there in many locations.
Traffic flows on the peninsula look good. Want to remind you about these Gilmerton Bridge openings set for back-to-back 6:45 and 7 a.m. Now here's Katie and Don.
6:03 now. We're following breaking overnight news from Chesapeake. A police chase that ended on the interstate. The state police say it started somewhere in Chesapeake and ended in Interstate 464 near the Poindexter Street exit.
Since Chesapeake police are leading this investigation, we're still waiting to hear back from a department spokeswoman about the details like where it started, what time it happened, and if anyone was hurt. Of course, we will keep working to get updates and bring you any new information when we get it.
Our Decision 2016 coverage continues now in the most populous city in the state, Virginia Beach. Voters have a lot to decide there.
Yeah, they really do. In addition to the presidential election, they are also voting on the mayoral race and that light rail referendum. Our Lex Gray joins us now live from the resort city. Lex, people were lined up outside the polling station when we last spoke with you. What's going on out there now?
Oh, Katie, the line is so long right now. People cheered as soon as one of the poll workers came out and she yelled, "The polls are now open," and people have been steadily moving in. You can see how quickly the line is moving, which is good because it stretches all the way around the church. I did a Facebook Live just to kind of experiment with how long that line was. It took me more than 2 minutes just to walk the length of the line this morning, but as you can see here, it's moving quite quickly. I talked to a lot of people in the line about what they were here mostly for. A lot of them said it was the presidential election, of course. Some said that they are excited just to get this over with, but one man told me very firmly he is excited to be here and to vote this morning. Now, as you mentioned, Virginia Beach voters have some big decisions. One of the biggest ones is whether or not to extend the light rail to town center. Voters will also choose a mayor. Incumbent Mayor Will Sessoms faces 3 challengers in this election, and if you haven't already decided, we've got information about all those candidates posted for you on wavy.com. You can also, of course, access that from our app, so if you are waiting in one of these long lines, you'll have time to do your research beforehand. I talked to one of the guys here who was in line by about 5 o'clock in the morning. I asked him why he decided to get here so early. He said because in the last general election, he waited in line for 5 hours. So it doesn't look like people have a 5-hour wait ahead of them here, but we will be here all morning bringing you updates from this very long line here at Providence Presbyterian Church. Live in Virginia Beach, I'm Lex Gray, 10 on your side.
All right, Lex, we see all that movement behind you. Folks are excited. Thanks. Well, tonight, both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump will watch the returns from New York City. Our Andy Fox is in the Big Apple right now. He stopped at Clinton's campaign headquarters in Brooklyn and Trump's headquarters on Fifth Avenue. People working for both camps expect a good turnout at the polls. And watch for 10 on your side's coverage from New York City. Andy Fox will have live reports throughout the day, starting on Wavy News 10 at 4. 6:06 now, and stay with us. We have much more Election Day coverage ahead, including a rundown of the major races we are following today.
That's right, and Chopper 10 is also set to fly in about 10 minutes. We'll have that for you live as soon as it's ready. Now, this all includes today the race to represent Virginia's 3rd District. We'll show you why it is different from years past. And new this morning, creepy surprise. How a movie plot unfortunately came to life on this flight.
It's starting to pick up around City Hall Avenue. Now here's Katie.
Thank you, Jen. 6:12. All new this morning, a new report about the number of bugs in our homes. You won't believe how many you are probably living with.
Plus, I'm Rico Bush live at a polling place in Newport News. The line is growing. People are here. The polls are open. We'll have everything you need to know coming up in just a few minutes.
We are back at 6:14 on this election day. Our Decision 2016 coverage continues now on the peninsula. 10 Your Side's Rico Bush is live in Newport News.
He is at the Watkins Early Childhood Center on Burns Drive. Rico, good morning.
Good morning, Katie, Don. Yeah, the lines continue to grow. A lot of people are out here ready to cast their ballots. Just take a look at how many people are in line here. So many people waiting to get inside that building to cast their ballots for president. Just take a look at how long this line is. It wraps around this parking lot here. A lot of people in this line. I want to stop by real quick by this gentleman. Can you tell me your name real quick?
Terrence Bortley.
Terrence Bortley. How excited are you right now?
Pretty excited. Yeah.
You are?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any concerns at all? Or are you?
I mean, we all have concerns, man. I mean, right now, it's just, right now with the way things are going in the country and everything, everybody's concerned with basically the money, basically what's going on as far as the military. I'm retired military, so that's my concern right now is for the military right now.
And what motivated you to get up so early to come cast your ballot this morning?
I wanted to vote. I wanted to be a great citizen for the country and vote for my candidate.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me. Let you get through the line here. But again, yeah, you can see all the people in line. We talked to a lot of people. Some people say they are excited. Some people say that they're not really too excited about any of these candidates. They say they're just have to do their due diligence and vote, and say you can't complain if you don't vote. So they are doing that hold your nose and vote for the best candidate they believe will be able to run the United States of America. Of course, polls are open. Again, you can see how long this line is. But the good news here is that it's moving fairly quickly. People are going in and out. Of course, we'll be out here all morning long. We'll have another update for you in just 30 minutes. Don, Katie, back to you.
All right, Rico, thank you very much. A lot of enthusiasm in Newport News. Now, this just in, Virginia Senator and Vice Presidential candidate Tim Kaine just cast his vote in Richmond. He and his wife, Ann Holden, showed up early to their precinct. They were one of the first in the city to vote. And later, Tim Kaine will be in New York with Hillary Clinton as they watch the returns come in.
And now let's get you caught up on what will be on your ballot here in Virginia. You have two constitutional amendments you'll vote on. The first is about putting a clause in the state constitution declaring Virginia a right-to-work state. Now, it is already law in the Commonwealth, but this would make it more difficult for lawmakers to change. If you side with big business and agree with the right-to-work law that no employee can be forced to join a union, vote yes on this. If you side with the unions and are against the right-to-work law, vote no. The Second Amendment has to do with whether or not the spouses of first responders killed in the line of duty should pay property tax on their home. If you think they should be exempt, vote yes. If not, vote no.
An important issue on the ballot in Virginia Beach today is the light rail referendum. The non-binding question will ask you if you want the city to spend money to extend the tide from Norfolk to Town Center. The 3.5-mile-long project is expected to cost $243 million and make 3 stops. Much of that money will come from the state. Virginia Beach voters will also elect the new mayor. Current Mayor Will Sessoms is running for re-election. He's up against businessmen Richard Kowalewicz and Don Weeks, along with George Furman III.
There's also a heated race for mayor in Portsmouth. There are 6 men on the ballot, including incumbent Kenny Wright. Wright is facing opposition from John Rowe, Shannon Glover, Cliff Page, Barry Randall, and James Sturdivant.
And here are the 5 candidates running for mayor in Suffolk: Brian Bass, Kerry Holmes, Charles Scott Jr., Gerald Staten, and incumbent Linda Johnson.
In North Carolina, voters will pick a governor. Republican Pat McCrory is running for a second term against Democrat Roy Cooper, who is the state's attorney general. A recent New York Times poll has Cooper slightly ahead of McCrory.
This is a big election for Virginia's 3rd district because it is the first one with the new boundary lines. Now, here's a look at the cities and counties that used to encompass the 3rd district. Judges ruled it illegally packed black voters into the district, stretching from Richmond to Norfolk. Well, now the district looks more like this. The new boundaries don't include as much of the Richmond area and have more cities from Hampton Roads and the Tidewater area. Bobby Scott has represented the 3rd district for 24 years. His challenger is Marty Williams, a retired Chesapeake police officer.
If you missed any of this information at all, it's on wavy.com for you right now. That is where you'll also find our voter guide. It has poll hours, sample ballots for each of the 7 cities, and how to find your polling place, as well as what counts as valid forms of identification. You'll also find a link to the key contested races in Virginia and more about each candidate. 6:20 new this morning, a big legal decision in North Carolina could turn the course of the election. A federal judge decided to allow thousands of names back onto the voter registration lists after the NAACP said they were unfairly removed. Now, we first told you about this a week ago. The Board of Election in 3 North Carolina counties wanted to remove 4,500 names because mail sent to them came back as undeliverable.
Now your Super Doppler 10 forecast with meteorologist Jeremy Wheeler.
All right, it is Election Day, and it's a big day.
First at 6:45 and the other at 7. Now here's Katie and Don.
Jen, thank you. 6:25 now. New this morning, passengers on a Mexican commercial flight got quite the surprise when this wiggled out of an overhead storage compartment. Take a look. Yep, it's real. It's an actual snake on a plane scenario. Now, the plane made an emergency landing, and someone safely got the snake off the flight. And they probably all wanted to know who brought that thing on. And I wonder
why?
And I wonder how that person got off the flight. Maybe he was maybe thrown out the window. I'm sorry, I'm not advocating violence.
That's right, not at all.
No, in a statement, the airline Aeromexico said it was trying to figure out how it got on board in the first place.
And hey, guess what? If that didn't freak you out, we're going to try again. New research says more than 600 types of insects, spiders, and centipedes are living in most American homes. How about that? Well, that's according to research at North Carolina State. Dust samples showed homes in rural areas with basements and pets had the greatest variety of bugs. You're welcome.
The Decision 2016 results for one town are already in. Dixville Notch has a long history of midnight voting. We'll explain who they chose to be the next president.
Plus, we have live team coverage at the polls. Take a look. This is outside a voting site in Virginia Beach. About an hour before the polls even opened, a line had started forming, and it is still there, as you can see.
And Chopper 10 is live, flying high above the New Providence Presbyterian Church in Virginia Beach. Look at all the cars. Yeah, these folks are showing up for early service. Well, maybe not. To their public service now, to do their duty to vote. You can see the line is long. Stay with us. Our Decision 2016 coverage continues in less than 3 minutes.
This is your latest news from the station on your side. Wavy News 10.
It is Election Day in Hampton Roads, and with so much at stake, we of course want everyone to get out and vote if you haven't done it already.
Then we'll get to the headlines in just a moment. Jen Lewis has your traffic report, and meteorologist Jeremy Wheeler has the forecast. And here is a live look from Chopper 10 this morning over a voting precinct in Virginia Beach. And look at all the cars outside that church as folks showed up early to get to vote. And they are waiting in line right now to cast their ballots. Look at the line that wraps around the church.
Wraps all the way around the church there. Lex Gray is there. She's going to have a live report from that precinct in just a little bit. She'll let you know what voters have to say. But they have been in line.
Wow,
look at that.
Look at that.
They have been in line since 5 o'clock this morning, an hour before the polls even opened, and we were there for you that whole time. We're going to continue that throughout the day. And speaking of being there for you, let's talk to meteorologist Jeremy Wheeler. He has a lot more to let you know about as you get ready to head out to the polls. Jeremy, not too bad, just a little chilly.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out there right now. Folks waiting in line. I mean, we got freeze warnings till 8 a.m.
Now here's Katie and Don.
Thank you very much, Jen. 6:32. Our live coverage of Decision 2016 continues this morning with 10 on your side's Lex Gray.
Lex is live at a polling precinct in Virginia Beach where hundreds of people are expected to turn out today. And it seems, Lex, that they're all lining up right now.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Don and Katie. You had a view from Chopper 10 up earlier this morning. It's flying ahead overhead right now to show you how long these lines are. I can show you the front of the building, but the thing is, this line wraps all the way around the back. So the people who are starting to approach the door, they say that they've already been here a half an hour this morning, and they've got a long ways to go because once you get inside, the line continues to wind around the building. So we've seen this line steadily growing since about 5 o'clock this morning, an hour before the polls even opened. But one woman who already voted said it's moving very quickly, so she was, of course, happy to see that. Now, there are some important things on the ballot here in Virginia Beach, including you'll be voting for mayor here today. Incumbent Will Sessoms faces 3 challengers. People will also vote on whether or not to extend the light rail. A lot of people in line told me they're excited to vote. Many also said they are simply excited to get this over with. Now, as I mentioned before, it seems like things are moving quickly. We're talking to voters in line to see how that's going, and we'll have coverage for you here all morning long. Live in Virginia Beach, I'm Lex Gray, 10 on your side.
All right, Lex, thank you. A lot of motivated folks out there. Now, there is a lot to keep in mind as you head to the polls today. Election officials say the best time to avoid long lines is early afternoon. The busiest times are right now, between now and 10 in the morning, and then again between 4 and 7 in the evening. And as long as you're in line by 7 tonight, you'll get to vote. Election officials also say be sure to have your photo ID, a driver's license, passport, military ID, employer ID, or an ID from a school in Virginia. All will work.
If you plan to vote for the late Warren Judge in today's election, his wife is taking over his candidacy. A committee voted and believes Tess Judge is a perfect fit to carry on her husband's legacy in North Carolina. Now, his name is still on the ballot, so if you elect him, Mrs. Judge will serve a 2-year term representing District 6. Judge was a Dare County commissioner who passed away Saturday in Norfolk.
Breaking down the issues coming up, we're on your side talking about the referendums on today's ballot.
On high alert, find out where voters will see extra security at their precincts this morning.
And here's another live look from Chopper 10 on this election day as people head to the polls. This scene in Virginia Beach, we've seen long lines already at some precincts. We're back with more election coverage after a break.
From the station on your side, you're watching Wavy News 10 today.
.45 and 7 a.m. Now here's Katie and Don.
Our Decision 2016 coverage continues after this short break. Here's a live look at a polling precinct in Newport News. Before the polls opened at 6 o'clock, we saw a long line of more than 50 people. Make sure you vote today.
And remember, we're on your side throughout the day. Check out wavy.com for your polling location. Plus, take a look at your local ballot. Our time now 6:44, and we're back with more live coverage of Decision 2016 on this election day. 10 Your Side's Rico Bush live on the peninsula.
And Rico, you're in Newport News, where there has been a long line all morning, even before the polls opened.
Yeah, Don and Katie, the lines have been steady all morning long, and it continues to grow. It doesn't look like it's letting up anytime soon. Let's give you a look at what these lines are looking like. Take a look at how many people are already in line getting ready to cast their ballots. Now, we know that we have seen some poll workers walk outside and try to show people what the ballot looks like. They've been handing out sample ballots so people can get a look at what's on it before they make their decision. Let's give you a look at what it's looking like inside of that gymnasium. This is the Watkins Early Child Care Center. You can see it's a packed gymnasium there. You can see people going through the line until they reach those machines. Voters are deciding on several state and local races, but we talked to people earlier this morning and throughout the day. They say that the line is moving pretty quickly on the outside and in the inside. We also talked to a first-time voter in his 40s. He said he has just had to get out and vote. We also talked to some other people who are just excited to cast their ballots in this presidential election. But some other people we talk to, they say they just want it over with. They say they are holding their nose to vote for the best person they believe will be able to lead the United States. But back out here live again, you can see as this line continues to grow, and people are just waiting until they get inside to make their voice heard. We will stay out here all morning long. Of course, we'll be live throughout the morning on this situation as people continue to vote, and we'll have the very latest for you over on Fox 43 in 30 minutes. That's the latest here from Newport News. Don, Katie, back to you.
Rico, thank you very much. 646. This is another look at the long lines to vote across Hampton Roads. We just got this picture from Randy Garver, who was waiting at Grassfield High School in Chesapeake.
And if you're waiting to vote, send us your pictures. Email them to reportit@wavy.com. And be patient. You'll be inside before you know it.
That's right. And if you have any other problems while voting today, we do want to hear from you. Investigative reporter Chris Horn will look into any issues you may have at your polling place. Let us know by sending an email to reportit@wavy.com. New this morning, the first polls are already closed in some parts of New Hampshire. The first votes came into the town of Dixville Notch. Hillary Clinton won with 4 votes, while Donald Trump got 2. Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson and write-in candidate Mitt Romney split the other 2 votes. New Hampshire law lets towns of less than 100 people open the polls at midnight on Election Day. All 8 eligible voters in Dixville Notch cast their ballots by 12:10 this morning. All 8 of them. Well, across the country, voters in several states will decide if they want to legalize recreational marijuana. That issue is on the ballot in California, Arizona, Maine, Massachusetts, and Nevada. California also has another important decision on the ballot, whether or not to overturn the death penalty and make it illegal.
Security is also top of mind this morning. Voters in New York will see more police across the city, and that includes in front of this convention center where Hillary Clinton is holding a rally later tonight. And 10 News Site will have complete coverage of the 2016 presidential election today. We have crews in New York City today, and that's where both candidates plan to be when the results come in. And look for the latest live reports throughout the night. Today, law students and William & Mary want to help you at the polls. They're running a voter assistance hotline to help anyone in the Tidewater region with their questions about voting. The number for the nonpartisan hotline is on your screen, and students will be there to answer your calls from 8 this morning until 7 tonight. This is the 10th year for the Voter Assistance Hotline.
And remember, our election coverage continues throughout the day and into the night on Wavy.com. We'll start our live streaming coverage after Wavy News 10 at 7 p.m. on Fox 43. Starting at 7:30, hear from our crews live in the field and our political experts in-house who will break down the numbers.
Now your Super Doppler 10 forecast with meteorologist Jeremy Wheeler.
All right, the forecast today, we're going to start off cold, start off chilly, and then temperatures are quickly going to warm.
And another Gilmerton Bridge opening set for 7 a.m. Now here's Katie and Don.
Jen, thank you very much. At 6:52, let's take a live tour now of several polling places on this election day. Here's a live look from inside a polling place in Cleveland, Ohio. You might remember, of course, Ohio is a battleground state in this election.
And let's head to another state, a battleground state. Here's a live look at a polling spot in South Florida. This is a must-win state for Republican Donald Trump.
And back here in Hampton Roads, we've been showing the lines at the polls this morning. This is in Newport News, where Rico Bush has been talking to voters all morning long. He'll have more for you over on Fox 43 at 7:15.
And Lex Gray has been in Virginia Beach this morning, where there's still a long line outside New Providence Presbyterian Church. The line started here an hour before the polls opened this morning. Now, you have until 7 this evening to vote in Virginia, and if you're in line by 7, your vote will still count. And you have until 7:30 to vote in North Carolina.
And here's a live look from Chopper 10 over White Oaks Elementary School in Virginia Beach. We've seen long lines in several places this morning. We'll keep Chopper up as we switch over to Fox 43 at 7 a.m. And of course, we'll have more local Election Day coverage through 9 o'clock this morning. Look at that line. Wow. Good morning. With another check on 10-time saver traffic. As we're moving over to Fox 43, a new crash in Newport News. It is 64 eastbound just past Fort Eustis Boulevard, already causing a backup.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yes.
Right now, the weather.
Yep, weather at least is dry for today. It's cold this morning. You may be scraping some ice off your vehicles this morning.
Whoa.
But temperatures will be in the 60s this afternoon, so it's a huge climb in temps. And then I'll have the temperatures throughout the day coming at 8 to 10, 7 a.m. on Fox 43.
And that's where we will be. Have a great day.